This video will be a brief bike maintenance discussion on a bent chain, how it happens, how to recognize when it happens, and what to do if it does happen. So last week on a ride I dropped a chain, and it was only the second time I've ever dropped a chain on my narrow wide 1x10 setup on my mountain bike. So I put the chain back on and started riding, and the bike was, it was almost like it was trying to ghost shift. And so the way that you can recognize this, it's kind of cyclical, so it'll be smooth and then it'll kind of skip, it'll be smooth and it'll skip, kind of in the back cog, like it's trying to jump out of the cog. So, the first thing I did was just make sure my rear derailleur was adjusted properly, and kind of pulled over and made sure the cable was right and it was shifting good up and down. I kept pedaling and it kept making that noise, and then it finally occurred to me what probably happened. And you have to get off the bike and look at it. You can't just look down at your chain, because if this was a whole chain on a bike, it's kind of difficult to spot. And so you can see it right there, just how that link is bent. And so I looked at the chain, sure enough it was bent. And so what you have to do when that happens is you have to pull that pin out, and you have to have a chain tool. So that's why it's really good to carry a chain tool when you ride, because you never know when something like that can happen. And so you have to take a whole link out. So a wide and a narrow, that's one whole link right there. And so you obviously have to take out the bent portion. When you do this on the trail, you got to make real sure that you don't back the pin out on the part that's staying on the bike, the pin that's staying on the chain that's going to stay on the bike. You got to make sure you don't back that out all the way and it falls out of that link, because you want to be able to put the chain back together and be able to push that pin in. If that pin falls out, you're pretty much out of luck when you're out on the trail, and then you would have to try to do another link, and then the chain's starting to get a little bit too short at that point. And so again, make sure you carry a chain tool. Another important thing is to just know how to do this, and that's why I always recommend doing some basic your own bike maintenance at home, so that you know how to do this. So whenever it comes time to change your chain, do it yourself, so that you know how to do that. You know how to get that pin to where it just backs out just far enough where the chain will come apart, but it stays in that link. Now usually this happens, like when it happened to me, is when you drop a chain. I've had this happen twice, and both times was when I dropped the chain. So if you ever do drop a chain, or you think it's dropped, make sure you stop pedaling and look down and see if it's off the chain ring. And if it is, stop pedaling immediately. Don't try to pedal. I didn't know it was off. I started pedaling and then realized it was off. So somehow it got bent when I did that. So that's a brief bike maintenance discussion on a bent chain, how to recognize when it happens, and what to do if it does happen. Thanks for watching.